Welcome to You Make the Difference. I'm Wanda Walker, and today I'm interviewing Kim King, who is with Hope Harbor. And Hope Harbor is a wonderful ministry for women who are dealing with addictions, and Hope Harbor helps them overcome through Jesus. Welcome to the show, Kim.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. Now tell me about Hope Harbor, where it's located, and about the women who come there.
Okay, sure. Hope Harbor's over in Warm Springs. A lot of people call us the best kept secret because they've passed by Hope Harbor going over to eat in Warm Springs or, do something down there, and they're like, I've never seen Hope Harbor. We are a campus that serves women who are battling addictions.
Yes.
And it's basically a home. They get to come and live there for 12 months and go through this program and just be at home there on the campus. It's out in the middle of nowhere. When they get there, they're like, where am I at? Where have you taken me? But it's the best place for them to reconnect and just have that unconditional love from Jesus and that grace and that forgiveness and bond with the animals and the gardening and it's a full experience.
Yes, and there are a lot of facilities on the Hope Harbor campus, right?
We do have a couple of other, like we have the mobile home for our resident manager.
Yes.
She lives there on campus, and we have a family life center where we do graduations, and so we do. It's a 25-acre campus.
Wow. Wow. And Kim, tell me what you do at Hope Harbor.
I am Hope Harbor's business administrator. So I work part-time for Hope Harbor, and while that may be my title, it really just means I wear lots of different hats.
Yes.
And do whatever I can. I work on special events and speaking engagements, coming to talk about Hope Harbor. And but my favorite part is being there with the students. I call them the girls. When I get to be with the girls on Mondays and Wednesdays and just get to see that transformation in their lives and their children's lives and their family, and just hear what God's up to in their life, that's my favorite part.
Yes, and so let's talk about that. Tell me some stories of women who have come through and been successful at Hope Harbor.
Miss Wanda, this morning I was thinking, I'm sure many people watching this show read the LaGrange Daily News.
Yes.
And have seen the articles recently about heroin. Meth was a big that was a problem a few years back. Well, now heroin is creeping its ugly head up. And I think about a student we had that graduated about a year and a half ago, and she's local, and heroin was her drug of choice there at the very end. And she's young, she's in her early 20s. And since graduating from Hope Harbor, she has gone back to school. She's married. She sings on the praise and worship team at the church that the students attend on Sunday mornings. And her family, she has many siblings, and her family, the way she was able to share with them that love that she had received.
Yes.
And it's just been a wonderful transformation to see what, like John 10:10 says, the devil comes to kill and steal and destroy. Well, he used heroin to do that in her life, and she was at her pit at the end. She was about to die, and now all the life that's in her, and I wish that she could come and share her testimony with everybody, because it would just touch your heart to see that there is hope. I know people read articles, and it's true, heroin is a problem, but that's why we have Hope Harbor, because there is hope.
There is hope. And even though the enemy comes to destroy, Jesus came to give us abundant life and give us victory.
That's
and
right.
That overcoming spirit that's within us is revived in us. And I know you see that done a lot of times. Who is a graduate, I mean, not their name, but tell me the story of a graduate who's had long-term success and that's really impressed you.
I'm going to tell you, there is a girl who always comes to mind who graduated about almost 9 years ago, and she's local from here from LaGrange, and since graduating, she has moved up. There was a businessman who gave her a job opportunity, really took a chance.
Yes.
And since then, she has moved up there where she works, and she's going back to school to even better herself in her employment. She's married, she has a daughter, has been sober for the entire 8 years, and so has her daughter, raising her in church and just breaking that cycle.
Yes.
We see that a lot, is the cycle of this is how my mother was and my grandmother or grandfather, but that cycle carried on through, and then when they have children, sometimes they recognize it in themselves and wait a minute, I'm doing the same thing that was done to me, and I didn't like how it felt. Why am I doing it?
Yeah.
You know, and so I think about her and how for almost going on 9 years now,
yes,
that she is still.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah. And the first family that you talked about, or the woman who had affected her family,
Mm-hmm.
I think when one person breaks the cycle in the family, it's easier for other people in the family to break that cycle. Do you see that?
We do. We have a student right now who's at Hope Harbor who her mother has now been sober for 2 years. And to see them kind of go through this together is amazing. And then also, you know, we all struggle with different things. If it's not addiction, it can be depression,
Mm-hmm.
or, you know, there's lots of different things that everybody just living everyday life, being happy, you know, full of joy,
yes,
is a struggle for some. So to see, I think about her family and showing them just a different way of thinking.
Right.
You know, that there is hope and there is faith and there is grace and there is, you know, and how you just keep the upward battle going. Just something that can sound as simple as that, but it really, to change people's way of thinking,
yes,
is amazing.
it really is.
They're like, who is this new person that we've, you know, they think that they're just going to get their daughter back who she was before the addiction, and then all of a sudden, no, they're like, this is a new creation. Who is this? She's even better than she was before.
That's right.
And so they have to bond and get that new relationship established, but it's a good thing.
Yeah, and when one person changes, it causes the other people to have to change and relate to that person differently,
Mm-hmm.
and
It
think
does.
differently. I'm reminded of a story that I heard about some monkeys that were out in the jungle on I think on an island, and there was a fruit there that was high up in the tree, and they didn't eat it because it was salty. And so one day, one of the monkeys went up in the tree and got that fruit and brought it down and washed it in the river and ate it. Well, that caused all the other monkeys to go up in the tree and get that fruit, bring it down, wash it, and eat it. But the remarkable thing was that once that happened, there were monkeys who did not see that were located miles away, who broke through. They began to go up in the tree and wash the fruit and eat it. And so, you know, if that can happen in the animal kingdom, that when breakthrough comes to one, it sparks breakthrough in others and has that ripple effect.
That's right.
Then I know God put that in the human kingdom too. And so, you know, just break through. Be that person who will break through in your family and let it have that ripple effect. That's awesome. Tell me how Hope Harbor began.
Dee and Stan Clark,
yes,
they are the founders of Hope Harbor. And over 30 years ago, Miss Dee started going to a women's prison in Wetumpka, Alabama, and she would watch the purses for the ladies who went in to have the Bible study.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because she said, Lord, I feel that tug, that pull to go and be a part of this, but I have no idea what to do. I've never had an addiction. I don't know about prison. But I feel that need to go. So she just watched the purses. Okay, well, that's how it began. Well, then when she and her husband moved here to LaGrange, they started going to the Troup County Jail and doing the weekly jail ministry there.
Yes.
And they kept seeing the same women coming in over and over and over, and they're like, this is not just a drug issue or the crime that they committed because of the drug. You know, these are girls that were in college.
Yes.
And started using drugs to stay up late to study. I mean, addiction does not take long to spiral out of control and you be in a pit. So there's a need. There's a need for more, and they started bringing just one lady in their home at a time for a year, and they did that for 8 years.
Wow!
And those 8 women are all still successful today.
Yay!
Yes. And so then they formed Hope Harbor, who can serve 8 women at a time, at one time. So still a small but mighty number. And so in 2005. Hope Harbor opened its doors, so over 10 years ago. The campus paid in full by gracious businessmen, supporters,
yes,
so that we could have a campus to serve 8 women at a time.
That is awesome. And you know, the number 8 means restoration, a new beginning, a new generation. That's a great number.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's significant to them, and that they had 8. That's great. I hadn't heard that story. Yes. Okay. So how do students enroll in your program?
Usually it's word of mouth. We do work with the judges in the surrounding counties, and they can go through the court system to come to Hope Harbor, or they can just come from home. The girl that I was telling you about with the heroin addiction, it was her sister went to church where the girls go, and they, you know, and it just, you know, I have a daughter in need, I have a sister in need, I have a mother in need, and somebody will say, let me tell you about Hope Harbor. So that's usually either referrals from the court system or for family and friends. That's how they become to know about Hope Harbor and go through the interview process and become a student. But I'm going to tell you, Miss Wanda, you have to be ready. A 12-month commitment.
That's right.
You have to be at your end. You have to say, enough is enough. I'm ready for a change. I know that I need this to commit for 1 year. Because if you're not ready, you know, you could come in and stay 30 days and leave. And no, these are students who are ready to commit for 1 year of their life. And sometimes that means a year away from their children, but they've already been spending time away from their children through their addiction. So Ms. D will work with the families, make sure the children are taken care of, and you would just be surprised at when they have these family days and visits, and we have events, and the children come to campus, they don't want to leave. They get to swing and see the horses and go fishing, and you know, they're like, Mama's in school and this is great.
I know.
They can see that life in her, and it's a good thing.
It is. And you know, if your life isn't going well and you don't know how to make it go well, I mean, a year of somebody helping you through, I mean, that is a blessing.
It's minor in the
it really is, and the rest of your life can be wonderful.
That's right.
So that is great. Now, you mentioned the horses. Tell me about the horses. The ladies work with the horses, is that right?
They do. We have an equine therapy program at Hope Harbor.
Yes.
And we had horses donated to Hope Harbor, and we have gracious people that will donate hay and feed to keep this going for about 7 years now.
Wow. Who donated the horses?
A couple of different people. We had some pastors, some local pastors, people. It's always neat to see the connections of, you know, like somebody will drive by and they'll notice the horses, and then they'll call and say, well, you know, I have a horse that, so we have all different kinds of connections that a lot of times these horses need us as much as we need them.
Right.
And the ladies will go down there every day and feed them and brush them and take care of them, and it helps them overcome fear too, because I'm going to tell you, horses are powerful animals.
Right.
If you've ever been, they are large and they are powerful, and you respect that power. And for them to overcome the fear, to ride them, to learn how to take care of them, and it's amazing what it does for their confidence, and it's good. It's a good thing.
Yes. Well, tell me what a typical day at Hope Harbor is like.
Okay. They are not sitting around for a whole year. It is a very structured, full of every kind of tool that you could possibly think of to send them to be successful. They wake up early in the morning and they cook breakfast, they watch Joyce Meyer, they do exercise, they do Bible study, they have rotation of cooking lunch, and right now during the summer we have a garden.
Yes.
So that's put into our summer schedule. They go out and tend the garden and learn how to not only cook with the produce, but also how to can it.
Oh, wow.
How to make, you know, pepper jelly, make things out of it. During our bake sale season, they learn how to bake. There are all kinds of opportunities to learn tools that aren't every day. You know, I don't know how to make pepper jelly. Right. I'd have to,
I don't either.
Girls, teach me how to do this. You know, how do I can those green beans?
Yeah.
You know, but they just walk away with all these tools. Of course, we have Power to Choose, which is something that some people may have heard of because it's been around a while, but it's a 12-step program that our director goes through with them. And our director is someone who has been clean for 15 years.
Yes.
And she was part of the Troup County Jail Ministry, was how the founders of Hope Harbor and she became together. And then now she is the one who goes every Monday night to do the weekly jail ministry.
Yes.
So her testimony in itself is powerful and amazing for these girls. They're like, can't pull anything over on Miss Darlene.
That's right.
She's been there, done that. So they
Yes.
have time going through Power to Choose and other curriculum, Financial Peace University with Dave Ramsey.
Good.
So there's just lots of pieces, to the pie that they get to study during that year.
Yes.
And take with them.
That's great. Now tell me, I know you have annual fundraisers and different things, so kind of describe that process of Hope Harbor, the activities
Yes.
that you have going on during the year.
We have two big events. Pathway to Freedom. We just celebrated in April our 10th annual Pathway to Freedom.
Wow.
Which is a motorcycle and Jeep ride and a 5K run. And I'm going to tell you, it is the funnest event we have of the whole year. Everybody gets to come to campus, and you get to hear the motorcycles come on, that sound of the thunder, as they call it. And we eat barbecue and have cakewalks and bouncy houses for the kids. And it is just, the students and the graduates come and share testimonies, and it is a fun event. And for the last 10 years worth of supporters, people who have actually even rode for 5 years, for 10 years now, it's their family. They become family. So it's like a family reunion every April when we get to have Pathway to Freedom. And then in October, we have a banquet. And we'll have it at different locations and different speakers, but it's a sit down, a meal, and a presentation about Hope Harbor. So that's coming up in October.
Good. And at that event, the ladies, some of them tell their testimony, isn't that right?
They do.
And then also they attend church meetings, not just the normal church that y'all go to, but they will go to other churches and give their testimony too, because you want them to be able to voice that in front of groups, and also, I guess, influence other people too at the same time. But sometimes going through places of addiction recovery is really confidential and those kinds of things. But share with me what your thinking is about having the ladies express what they've been through and really take responsibility, I guess, for their life. Tell me about that and how that works.
Sure. We have a saying around Hope Harbor. We say, you're only as sick as your secrets.
Oh, yeah.
And when they are able to overcome, get all that junk out, and start filling it back up with Jesus, with that unconditional love and that peace and that joy and that hope for the future, then they want to share it.
Right.
They want to tell others, because addiction is no respecter of person. And I'm sure some people watching today may think, addiction, that just looks like the homeless guy on the street on the corner. He must be there because he has a problem with alcohol or drugs. And they don't realize that, like I said earlier, it could be a college student, it could be a mom with 3 children trying to just juggle that, struggling.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you're trying to manage, work or home, but addiction becomes an issue quickly. And when they go and speak and share with others, you don't know who it is that you're touching, that you're reaching, and that ripple effect of it may not be you, but it may be somebody you know. Because odds are, with addiction, if it hasn't happened to you, it's happened with someone that you know that's very close to you. And we're overcomers.
That's right.
By the power of our testimony. And so if you ever stop talking about it, you're just going to give the enemy a chance to, oh, it wasn't as bad as you remember. Oh, no, it was that bad. It was worse than that.
Yeah.
And we're not going back
That's
there.
right.
Let me tell you where I'm going.
Yes.
And sometimes when they're sharing their testimonies, they talk about the pit, the bad part, where God brought them from, but only so that you can see that dramatic difference of where they came from and where they are now. And then focus on what He's doing now and where the future is, and where things are going, to offer hope.
Yes.
Even if it's not about addiction, just to offer hope to so many people that are hopeless. They really feel like the things we hear about our economy, that we hear about going on in the world, it's so easy to become hopeless. So it's very important for them to be able to speak and give hope and speak life back into the community.
Yes, and Hope Harbor's kind of been a family thing for you, right? Your mama is involved with Hope?
She is.
Yes, and also I want you to tell about what your son said this morning. So
Sure.
Start with your mama and tell me about your family involvement with Hope Harbor.
To be family involved is not just for me. It is everybody. It becomes a family thing, and once you become part of the Hope Harbor family, you always are. My mom, she's on the board of directors, and she would ask me to come and volunteer on work days. So for the last 10 years, you know, I started as just a volunteer. I would come and we'd move hay. We would, you know, we would work out in the yard or do something like that. And my dad, he's part of Hope Harbor. He'll come and do Bible study classes. And then now I have 2 boys and boy number 3 on the way. And they're a part of Hope Harbor. So this morning, I asked my oldest, I said, I'm going to talk with Miss Wanda about Hope Harbor. What do you think I should tell everybody about Hope Harbor? And I'm thinking maybe he's going to say, you know, the horses or, you know, something that from a child's eye view, we just got a new playground. You know, I'm thinking that's what he'll say. And he says, just tell him that Jesus loves them. And I'm like, you know, Noah, you are so right, because that's what it's all about. You'll hear the students say that they're amazed at how they're accepted and they're loved and they're trusted, because through their addiction they've hurt, and they have hurt people, and they've taken things, and so they've burned all their bridges.
Right.
And so when they get to Hope Harbor, they're usually feeling pretty unworthy of any love, and so when they're given that unconditional love, that's when the transformation starts happening. The
blooming. And you know, Henry Wright over in Thomaston has studied the spiritual roots of illnesses and diseases, and he says that the root of addiction is the need to be loved. And so, you know, we get great love from the Father, but sometimes we don't recognize it and we don't know it within our being. And so, you know, once we have that realization that God loves us, and we see it through God's people lots of times and come to know that, then that changes our life dramatically.
Changes everything.
It does. Okay, tell me how people that are watching might help Hope Harbor.
You know, when we were talking about the girls going and speaking, that is one way that people can help, because a small women's group, your church, invite us to come and share. We also, when we have an event, if you see it on our Facebook page or on our website or a flyer out in the community, come and support us. Even if you don't drive a motorcycle or a Jeep, you know, just show up at the campus and eat barbecue with us. If you hear about the banquet, buy a table and invite your women's group to come and hear more about Hope Harbor. And you would be surprised at where you will see that you'll fit in. You know, we all have different gifts and talents. We're all good at different things. And so it's very neat the way God will network His people to bring us the need, to fulfill the need that is at the time. I think about the maintenance-wise, when there's been something, a need, a pipe has broken, and here we come. Oh, well, I know so-and-so I just met said you know how to fix that, and he'll come and fix it. And so just be open and willing to use your gifts and talents at Hope Harbor. And then, of course, financially, you know, we're state regulated, but we're not state funded.
Right.
So individuals, our special events, our friends of Hope Harbor who give monthly, and grants, that's the way we keep the doors open. So, and it's in any size. If you could give $10 a month, but you commit to give that every month, it makes a tremendous difference at Hope Harbor.
Yes, and monthly giving really makes a difference, doesn't it? Yeah, those one-time gifts are great, but that monthly commitment will keep you going.
Yes.
Yes, and I know that y'all partnered with the Transitional Center. And some of the men from the Transitional Center have done work at Hope Harbor. Tell me about that.
That was a really neat time. That's another opportunity where the man who may come in through the Transition Center has the skill. You know, he has learned how to plumb, and we're doing plumbing. We're building a new Family Life Center, and he could help us with the plumbing there. He could help fix a problem down at the resident manager's house.
Yes.
So that was a really neat time when the Lord used those men. And I'm going to tell you, Hope Harbor is one of those things where you need Hope Harbor just as much as Hope Harbor needs you.
Yes.
You just feel that peace when you come on the campus, and to get to interact and just plow a garden, and it's just so peaceful. it's a really peaceful experience. So it's
those
good for
men
them.
were transformed too, weren't
Yes.
they? Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have a story about one of those men?
I do. I think about one who, goodness, this was probably well over 5 years ago. It was a good many years ago, but he was plumbing, was
Yes.
something that he knew how to do, and he came and would help do different things as we were building. But then even after he graduated or transitioned out of the transition center, he's still a part of, you know, if you see him and I had a problem, he'll say, yeah, I know how to do that, or I know so-and-so who can help, or, you know, let me come to Pathway to Freedom and let me share. You know, we've had guys from the Transition Center want to come to Pathway to Freedom and share
Wow. Yeah.
what Hope Harbor has done for them.
That is awesome. Now, Stan and Dee were the ones who started Hope Harbor. They're still there.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about their relationship with the girls.
Everybody calls them Mama D and Pop Pop.
Yes.
Mama D and Pops, when they come on campus, sometimes the way they see it is that they'll say that Pops is the cut and Mama D is the Band-Aid.
Yeah.
But you know, it takes that in life because
Yes.
we're all different, and some of us, you have to shoot it straight, and you just have to tell us that this is what you need to do and this is what you need to stop doing and get your act together.
Yeah.
And Mama D is there with this unconditional love that will just melt you into pieces, and you're like, yes, you know, it's not in a intimidating way. It's a love and mercy and grace kind of way.
Yes. And so tell me, since you've been working for Hope Harbor, how have you changed?
Oh, wow. Tremendously, because I am very blessed to have the opportunity to be reminded daily that there is hope, that transformation really does take place, that God really is working on your behalf even when you don't see it or you don't feel it. He is. Real quick, I'll share a story that reminds
Great.
me. We had a student who needed a tooth repaired, and how God had paved the way for a dentist that, you know, picked up the phone and just said, hey, I know that you have, you know, you were introduced to us a few years back. We have a need. Would you be willing to meet it? And he said yes, you know, without hesitation, yes. And he went and fixed that problem. But the way it was set up for just a time such as this,
Yes.
It's encouraging to get to be reminded on a daily basis that He is. God's working on your behalf, even when you don't see it or feel it.
Yes, that's wonderful. Okay, well, I just want to thank the people who have watched today and to encourage you to get involved with Hope Harbor. You may be able to volunteer there. They have lots of opportunities to use your skills and talents. And I would just like to remind you that what you do truly makes a difference. We'll see you next week.
Got a promise from heaven. It's a year of replevin. Got a promise from heaven.